Hello everybody, it's Narrative Tarot. Welcome to your Pisces season reading. So this is for everybody who is just kind of looking into the overall energies of Pisces season. Essentially, that's why we're doing this. So I'm Narrative Tarot. You can comment, like, subscribe. Commenting, liking helps populate the video. Let people know that it's something that people want to watch, that they enjoy, they find useful, insightful, helpful, and that gets it recommended to more people who it could possibly help or give advice or provide insight for. So there's that. And then subscribing just keeps you in the loop. I do monthly readings for planets. So if you feel like there's a planet in your natal chart that you have some sort of connection to, or some sort of aspects in your chart, like significant aspects in your chart, things like that, then definitely check out that planet's reading. I do book clubs, I do redemption readings, I do readings where I just talk about different things and topics, deck reviews, just a bunch. So subscribing will keep you in the loop for that. I'm pretty on a roll right now, so definitely I would say subscribe because there's a lot of good content. So for Pisces season, I'm going to use the Chakra Tarot, and I'm going to do chakras, so 7 cards for 7 chakras. So let's just kind of get the energetic body of Pisces season, or the people consciousness in Pisces season. So let's do crown, on down, crown. So for crown chakra, we have the devil. Third eye, we have this one, which is the 2 of coins, the Knight of Wands for your throat, the, what is this, Sun card for your heart, 3 of Cups for your solar plexus, 4 of Pentacles for your sacral, along with the what is this, Page of Pentacles, and then lastly the 4 of Wands for your root. So what I would say is that the crown chakra is very overloaded. I already expected that, and there's a new feature that I'm going to put on the readings, or there's something I'm going to do after this that'll kind of help with that. So the Aquarius stellium, I kind of believe, is partially responsible for the overloading and the overdrive that people's minds have been going into, just because Aquarius is an air sign and it rules things like electricity and innovation, stuff like that. So people may actually just be very overloaded. Also, this is kind of coming off of Valentine's Day, so I kind of feel like if you had a very great Valentine's Day, you can't wait to get back to that place. I would just caution that the mind needs to be put to good use. It needs to have ideas, concepts, things like that that are followed through on, and that actually can benefit. So benefit yourself, benefit others, things like that. So I would say rumination is not really the point of Pisces season. You have to be productive and proactive, and you have to be grounded. And so this season and March in general for the readings, I feel need to be very grounded to balance out all of that energy that was there. So definitely with that devil with the crown chakra, focus on actionable steps, focus on beating analysis paralysis, or beating circling thoughts, ruminating thoughts. If you have to get it out by writing, singing, drawing, some sort of outlet where you're doing something and moving through it instead of keeping it all bottled up. With your third eye, you have the Two of Coins. I do think that there is a little bit of maybe trying to focus on something, trying to focus on it, trying to figure out what it is. Just make sure that you're not over stimulating yourself. Caffeine, sugar, anything. Really just making sure that you're not overstimulating that. You may have headaches, migraines, things like that, so watch out. Be hydrated. When you feel like you're going to have like I was going to say muscle spasm, but if you feel like you're going to have like a migraine headache or something like that, if you take medication, I guess you probably would need it. Make sure you have enough of it. And then if you're going to use any other kind of holistic, homeopathic ways, then have those as well, or it's time to look up something. It could be something chronic and long standing for you that you're trying to keep up in the air, but I definitely think finding a solution to what you need is going to be helpful. Moving on to the what is this, throat chakra. It's the Knight of Wands. So just make sure, because we are also coming out of Mercury retrograde, to make sure that your words, your thoughts match up. So just making sure you're not getting ahead of yourself when it comes to your words, making sure you're not stuttering, tripping, saying a bunch of things like that, because if you do, you might come off as less competent than you are, and that's often something that does happen with people. When their mind moves faster than their mouth, they can come off as socially awkward, even though that's not really your fault, right? That's not your fault, that's not your problem that people say that. But what happens is that people then kind of retract certain opportunities from you based on how they perceive your intellectual abilities, how they work. I just said too. But making sure that you are clear, you're solid, you know what you want, you know where you're going, and if you don't know that, you're at least open enough within yourself to move forward. Next, we have the Sun with the heart chakra. So I think Pisces season and then March by extension is going to feel really good. You might want to, I don't know, for some reason buy an umbrella, because we are going to be going into spring, and depending on where you live in the world, you might actually have a quite rainy season, but you probably would do well to just prepare, savor sweet moments. If you like honey, see what kind of honey is out there, see what your local suppliers are doing, get in touch with farmers markets, things like that. Those will be popping up in the next few months. Definitely coordinate your food, coordinate everything that you need to with regards to harvesting and earth and things like that. You may want to go to a farmer's market. Like I said, you may want to figure out where your food comes from, things like that. Things that open up your heart and let you see the beauty of nature, interacting with nature, going outside, walking, being with water, picking flowers, having fresh flowers, fresh things. I think it's a time for freshness. I think it's a time for newness, to get out of the staleness and sterility, I think, of last year with regards to everything that went on. Next, we have the solar plexus chakra with the Three of Cups. I'm going to say that this is a strong position for it, or a strong card. But I don't know if it's strong enough. I think it's calm. I think that if you cool down a lot, just be careful not to be stagnant, and also not to be so gluttonous when it comes to things. I think that it's great to relax, it's great to be calm, but I would caution against becoming passive as well, because that probably isn't going to help you either, and it might cause a little bit of problems. Make sure that the people that you're around actually want to be around you and that you want to be around them. And just making sure that your social calendar, if you have one at this time, is full of adventures and people, places, things you want to interact with that you actually enjoy and you want to be around. If you accept invitations, follow through with them. If you don't accept them, then follow through with that. Don't be wishy-washy about it, but definitely keep yourself going with something, some sort of activity, so that you don't fall into passivity, and that could lead to you having depression or something like that. So okay, next we have the Four of Coins and the Page of Pentacles. So this could be in your sacral chakra, just a little bit of stuckness, a little bit of wanting to savor the moment. So like I said, when it came to the top card with Valentine's Day, you might want to stay in that space. You may have a relationship. You may have a kind of like a honeymoon phase going on with that, or just a phase where you are satiated and you're pleased. If you aren't, then try to get out of that stuckness. If you have any anger, any resentment, any emotions that kind of are blocking you, it would be best to work on that and see what's going on. You might need to do some shadow work. You might need to do some journaling. You might need to release tears. Listening to really nice music, soft music, elevating music would help. Color therapy could help as well. You could need to wear the color black to kind of ground yourself, or to deal with the color black, interact with it in a way that you're transferring all of what you need out onto something. So maybe a black piece of paper, and then you burn it or throw it away or something like that. Yeah, definitely moving through emotions and making sure that you're unblocked is pretty cool. So there's that. And then lastly, we have the root chakra, which is the Four of Wands. So it's really light, really free. I would say, because this is wands, it's not as rooted. It's working pretty well. Your root chakra is working pretty well, but just make sure that you are rooted, that you stay rooted, that you don't fall into naivete, because when naivete is kind of let down, when you have expectations that are really high or not aligned with the current reality of the current world, it's very hard to come back from disappointments, especially when you're younger. I mean, throughout your life, when you get disappointed by people, places, things like that, when you get disappointed, you kind of become withdrawn and sad, and you retract, and it's kind of hard. You might be a little bit angry as well. Just making sure that you are healthy with your boundaries. You understand yourself well enough to know when you are feeling down, and not anchoring yourself in the emotion, but anchoring yourself in the knowing that it's a valid emotion and that you can move forward is going to help you. So that's the wrap up for Pisces season as far as the chakras. Now we'll just go into a general base reading. And I'm using the Crystal of Light Tarot. It's kind of like a Thoth based deck. So if you are interested in it, you can find it on eBay. So let's just do 3 and 3. So there's a lot going on, it seems, from everything popping out. I think there's a lot of movement, a lot of activity. I guess it's going to be 4. A lot of movement, a lot of activity, a lot of, this one, just things to go through. And with all of these major arcana on the board, it definitely is going to be a packed month of importance for someone out there. So we have the upper world and the lower world, and then I pair each of them. So each pair could be its own story or the larger whole. It just depends on how it goes. So we have clarity or 6 of wind, 3 of earth, or works. We have karma. What is that? Justice or strength. We have the Emperor with death, Hierophant, and then Mother of Water, reverse. So I will say with the Emperor and death, some of you guys might not make it to spring Aries season the way that you currently are. Not you're gonna die, but you're just going to go through some changes and something's going to get left behind, either a person, place, thing, whatever. And some of these things are not going to wait until then to start anew and start fresh, right? With spring, they're going to start over regardless of what time it is. So we have 6 of wind, 3 of earth. With this, just make sure that you are building the right structure, you're building the right mindset, mind frame. To go forward, I would say pick a power color. That probably will be helpful for you. With the 6 of wind, you really do need a lot of clarity. That's the only way that you're going to be able to get anything going forward for Pisces season. Pisces season is ruled by Neptune, confusions, illusions, delusions, stuff like that. Having the clarity, having the goal in mind, the picture, or even if it's not the picture specifically of everything, if it's open-ended, such as abundance, such as prosperity, things like that, just knowing clearly what that feels like, the circumstances that you like, things like that would be very helpful because you'll be able to solidify it. And with 3 of earth, I would say put a little more energy into that because you'll need to have that solid base. 3 of earth is a good card, but I would say maybe put it towards more an 8 of earth. And that way, 1, you're more than halfway to the 10 of earth. And then also at the 8 especially, you're actively working on it. So actively working on what you're thinking about, like I said, with the chakras, is going to be really important for Pisces season. Actively pushing through. You know, think about all of the plants. Even though they look dormant to us, they're actively working on what they need to work on, so that when springtime comes, they're popping up, they're blooming, they're opening up, they're fragrant, they're alive to us, you know, because they've been alive like the whole time. They've just kind of been dormant. Some of them have died, but they've been underground working. But there's a clarity of purpose. There's an automatic knowing of purpose. And it's helpful to follow through on that, right? The survival of human beings like rests with the activity of the plants and the animals that we consume. And so just understand that that is an active process of being, of existing at all times, even when you can't see it, right? So we have karma and strength. I would say if you're into psychedelics, I would say maybe stop or have a very directed intention for it. Have a very directed intention. I've done a video on the Aquarius stellium. I don't think it's time to do a lot of traveling. If you do a lot of traveling, as far as astral traveling is what I'm saying, make sure with the strength card that you have a guide with you that specializes in that. If you don't know your guides, then you might want to learn your guides. With the karma, you might actually see a lot of patterning and a lot of karma. It's almost like, you know, when you have movies and you have the holographic, you know, it's like the government or something like that, or it's sci-fi and it has like the holographic kind of information board and people are moving things and they're looking at the specs of things, you may have an experience where you see that. I would say just make sure that you don't freak out about it depending on what you see with this karma card, because you may actually interpret something in a way that could set you on a mental thinking path that you're not doing the correct thing, or overestimating how well you've done. And you just, like I said, with the clarity thing, you need to be very clear on what you are doing and where you're going. And so with that, if you do any past life regression, you need to stay centered, balanced. You need to have a guide. You need to know what you're doing and make sure that the information that you gain, you use it to your advantage. You use it to reflect and know yourself better based on past patterns, and then do something with it that is helpful, not harmful. If you're helping someone else do it, making sure that they are assured, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they're guarded is your job, and you need to take it seriously. So definitely do that. Next we have the Emperor, and we have Death. So, sorry guys, I check on this from time to time to make sure that we have enough going on as far as the camera not overheating because I can't see it, stuff like that. So sorry for the interruptions, but I want to make sure I'm recording this way because it's the clearest. So we have the Emperor and we have Death. So like I said, some of you guys are not making it to Aries season, or making it to March, or making it out of March with certain things, certain principles, certain beliefs. You have to give that up. So if you have friends that don't align, if you have ideas that don't align, you have just anything that doesn't align during the month of March, maybe get rid of it, deal with it, settle it. Don't be really stuck in your ways, bullying, anything like that with the Emperor. Just stand in your power. Just know that whatever you're keeping is for your power. Knowing that even because his eyes are kind of covered with this, even if you don't see it, you do have power, because when you don't know something, you don't know direction and things like that, you may feel like you don't have any power, and that kind of plays out where you're doing things that actively disempower you, or subconsciously you're attracting things that disempower you. But knowing that you can move forward without having all of the information is going to be very important for you to understand and to know, and just keep that as like a life skill in general. You don't have to know where you're going at every turn and things like that. Some things need to come up as they come up, and you need to know and have the idea in your mind, the faith to understand that you can deal with it. The lack of kind of moving forward or courage kind of comes from that idea that you don't trust that you can make really good decisions, or that you can make any decisions, or you'll have the resources at your disposal at the time, or that you can connect with someone that has the resources. It's about opening up yourself to where you can just move forward with what you have and utilize the hand that you're dealt at the moment. And then when the time comes, you can get better cards, better plays, better rewards, better prizes. Then you go for it. But it means letting that doubt go so that you can step into your power. And then lastly, the Hierophant and Mother of Water. This Hierophant looks like the most lax Hierophant I've ever seen, just because of his hands. And so I would say with this, make sure if you have relationships where there is supposed to be an authority and an understudy kind of relationship, that it stays that way. With this Mother of Water, there may be this idea that someone who is like superior. So like if you are the same age as your superior, or you're really close to them, or you come from the same background and culture, just make sure that like you aren't overstepping boundaries, or they're not overstepping boundaries, and making sure that there's a professionalism there is going to help. Because if not, this person may like become like, I don't want to say a bitch, but like kind of a bitch, because they're starting to impede on you, and with this like checkerboard under there, because of the certain arena this person is showing up in, particularly where there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving people and pawns and stuff like that, this person could get pretty manipulative and try to like move and maneuver you or others in a way that benefits them. But I think also it just benefits them in a very short-sighted way. It's because they can. It's because they know that they will get away with it. They know that, you know, the people observing it may culturally also align with you guys, or may not step in. And so if they culturally align, they're gonna think that it's acceptable behavior. If they don't step in, it's because they're fearful of what happens to them. So definitely just keeping things professional from the start will help, you know. Making sure you're also not the person to facilitate or desire very lax relationships. I think strengthening your boundaries and your bonds and your bounds and stuff like that is going to be important in Pisces season. Like I said, we're in the season of illusions, delusions, things like that. And just making sure that you can keep it all together, keep it structured, organized for yourself, where you're still happy, but you still have the structure. Structure does create happiness in a weird way, even though Pisces is kind of not really about structure and boundaries and borders. It's about transcendence and moving through stuff and blurring lines. Having that will actually lead you to be more transcendent, because there's a structure in place for you, right? Even with Pisces being the last one, there's a structure of 11 other signs that came before it that lead you ultimately to the ideals and the principles of Pisces. But it's all of those signs that come before it that have helped. So that is what I have for that reading. And now we're going to do a little bit of bibliomancy with this Humans book. Always put 81. Let's do 89 and 81. So this is just me reading. Double check, make sure. Cool. I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. So it's this picture right there with the shoes. And it says, they've been together since they were my age, but ever since they decided to separate, I've noticed a light seemed to dim in my dad, and a light seemed to glow in my mom. I just don't think that Mom felt she could grow with him anymore. Mom was always the practical one. Dad was always the dreamer. He was the one who played games with me, while Mom was the one who helped me with my homework. Mom recently went back to school and got a new job. Dad is still hoping that his art will get noticed. She thinks he needs to be realistic. He thinks she lost hope too early. And then the last one is 81, which is this one. This one. Right? Yes. We're praying. Oh, God. Sorry. I can't say it. We're praying for the souls of our ancestors. And that's it. So I hope that you have something to reflect on with regards to those things. If you want this book, you can check it out. I got it at TJ Maxx on sale, but it's Humans by Brandon Stanton, and he's the author of Humans of New York. And so this is what it looks like. It's kind of chunky book. It's got quite a few things. So thank you for watching this Pisces season video reading. And I hope that you've gained something insightful that helps you move forward for the next season. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.